Hello everyone, my name is Aldika Ananta, and in this video, I will present to you about my final year project called Bersama, which is an investment platform for goods supplier company in Indonesia. So first of all, I want to acknowledge several people that has been very crucial on the development of my project. First of all, is Dr. Masita Binti Ghazali as the supervisor of my final year project. And second to Mr. Ananta as the owner of PT Berkah Hasanah Bisa Bersama and the stakeholder of this project. With their dedication and guidance, I'm able to realize this final year project topic. In this presentation, there will be several topics that will be discussed. First is introduction and then literature review, system development methodology, requirement analysis and design, implementation and testing, and lastly is the conclusion. So first of all is the introduction to the project itself. Now, the overview of the project, we have to know about the stakeholder and what does the stakeholder do. So as I mentioned, the stakeholder is Mr. Ananta, who owns PT Berkah Hasanah Bisa Bersama, a supply good company that helps to purchase materials to anyone that needs them, especially factories in Indonesia. The importance of significant capital to allow operation as a good supply company is very crucial, and that is why this project is created. This is the problem background of itself. There are several problems that are facing our stakeholder, which are the need to communicate to investor for every new project, which takes times, and also investors cannot widely choose which projects to invest in. Next is the slow growth of investors, and of course, because of all that listed reasons, many potential investments are lost. When without the help of investors, our stakeholder faces a business growth stagnation. Now, the aim of the project is to help the stakeholder by first eliciting the required document and paper from their requirements. And then next is to understand the requirements and creating and designing a business project private funding system that is able to show investor all information on the project they invest in. Lastly is to implement all the documentation in development and testing and validate the proposed system as stated by the requirement. The scope of the project can be listed here. The intended users of Bersama are the investors and goods supply companies such as PT Berkah Hasanah Bisa Bersama. Next is it is a web-based investment application. And the next is the system unfortunately will not include a payment system due to local authority law. And next is the system will offer investment projects for verified goods supply companies. The next topic that will be discussed about is the literature review. In here, we will first understand the workflow of our stakeholder. So our stakeholder workflow started from a purchase order by a factory. And then once they have received the project itself, they will need the fund to purchase the select item. Now, next, once the fund has been acquired, the item will then be bought and will be delivered to the ordered customer. And lastly, the payment will be made and be sent to our stakeholder. Now in here, the current system analysis, we understand that in Indonesia, the business of online investments growth has been thriving in the last few years. In the last 3 years, there has been an increase in public financial understanding by 8.33%, as well as an increase in access to financial products and services by 8.39%. In this reason, we find that an investment website will be hugely beneficial for our stakeholder because of the high interest in business investment website that has been all over Indonesia. There has been several similar investment websites like Crowddana and Alami, for example, the two listed existing systems that are similar to what we want to build in Bersama itself. In Crowddana and Alami, we can find the differences between them and our system. So of course, both system being an investment platform does have a verification features, and of course the project list so that the users are able to select which projects they want to invest in. And next is the project details to know more about the project itself. Now, the investment placement is also there, being that it's an investment platform. The user is able to invest on their own accord. Next is the technology used for our development. So of course, in this website, we have to select the HTML, CSS, and PHP as our basis language, as the backbone of our website itself. But to accommodate all of them together, we use the framework of Laravel to simplify the development. And then we will use Visual Studio Code as the IDE of the development. And lastly, for the database, we use MySQL to store all the data necessary for the website. Next topic that we will talk about is the system development methodology. In here, we select waterfall as our methodology because it feels that it will suit us the most, especially after continuing from FYP1, where we elicit all the requirements. In this part of the development, which is the FYP2, we gather all the requirements and use it to develop our system based on the design that has been made, so that we don't have to go back again to understand what the requirement is, and it will speed up the process of development. There are several stages, of course, the requirement gathering, analysis, system design, implementation, which are mostly in FYP1. And next is the integration and testing, which is conducted in FYP2. Next is the deployment of system, and lastly is the maintenance of system once the system has been deployed. The requirement of the system is not too high. It's basically any system that has web browser that is able to connect to the Bersama system, or they are able to enter the Bersama system. So it can be an Android-based mobile phone or maybe an iPhone, and it can also be a laptop or desktop which have a web browser. Next is the requirement analysis and design, which is mainly cover about the features and the design of the system. First is the use case diagram. In here, you can see there are 4 actors, which are, you can categorize into 3, which are the investor, goods supply company, and admin. So basically, the main actor here is the investor itself, as they are able to view all the projects. They can make the investment, they can select which project to invest in. Of course, there's going to be the authentication process, such as register, login, update account, and verify account, which is very crucial for investment project. And lastly is the admin, where they basically control the whole part of the system. They are the backbone of the system. They are the one that is able to verify the user, manage the funding requests, and manage investments. Next is the system architecture design. So in this system, we use MVC as our architecture. Of course, MVC is separated into 3 layers: model, view, and controller. As you can see, there are several models that is used: funding management, and you can see all the listed models. And next is the controller to basically house all the functions that are required to run the system. Lastly is the view, that basically is the interface of the system, which is very crucial for our website. Next part is basically the crucial part: implementation and testing. This is where the system is being developed. In here, we can separate the system development into 2, the view of MVC and the backend development. Now, the MVC, the view is basically the interface of our system. It's what the user view, what the user interacts with. The backend development is basically the model and the controller, which basically controls the data and handle all the functions and processes that are necessary to control the system. In here, you can see the front end of the website itself. This will be explained more detailed on a demonstration video. So here is like some of the examples of the view. For example, this is on the left side is the homepage of Bersama. On the right side is the detailed project of Bersama. And of course, being it's an Indonesian-based investment system, the language used is using Indonesian. So it might not be well suited for the international audience just yet. Next is the backend model and controller. In here, you can view the model of and controller of the user. So basically, it is one of the snippet of what the system is. It's just a small example. It's actually much larger than this one. This is because we cannot really explain the whole system. It will be too long. And as you can see right here, the model is used to basically handle the data that are necessary for the users, for example, like name, email, etc. And of course, the user controller. And you can see right here, this is an example of the upload verification function, which basically handle the upload image of the user verification using their ID. Next is the testing part of our system. And here we use two type of testing. First being the black box, and next is the usability evaluation. For the black box, we have developed several test cases to make sure all the use cases created meets the expectation of the of the website and of the stakeholder itself. Usability evaluation is mainly used to understand whether the requirement has met the expectation of the stakeholder and users. So in the usability evaluation, we use a Google form where the user will be first given our website and they can give their opinion and their input whether the website is fully functional or not. We focus on three parts in usability evaluations, which are the interface, functionality, and usability. And based on the testing, the black box has been successful. All 17 test cases has passed, so all of them are successful. Next is the usability evaluation, which resulted in a satisfactory level, which is pretty high because not all of the three main factors, which are mentioned before, resulted in answers not lower than moderate, and majority of the answers says that it's easy/friendly, as you can see from the bar. The green bar is the highest results from all the users, showing or indicating that the user finds it easy to using Bersama. The last topic that we will cover about is the conclusion of our Bersama system development. In here, we will probably just focus about the improvement and suggestion that we could implement in the future for our system itself. Now, there are several things that could be improved on Bersama. For example, in Bersama, Bersama is not allowed to have an in-app payment system. Unfortunately, this is because the local authority in the form of OJK, which is the Indonesian local authorities for financial matter. So in here, we don't have the regulation just yet, so we are not allowed to have an in-app payment system in our investment app. Next is Bersama relies heavily on admin to verify and approve investment by user and company order. So in Bersama, our stakeholder wants the admin to control most of the system. It is the request of the stakeholder so that they can manually verify the potential investors and all the investment that has been placed by our investors. Next is Bersama does not enable two-factor authentication for further security of users' account. Now, in this, we could implement it very easily because we use a package called Forge in our Laravel framework. It's just need to be enabled. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, we are unable to implement it right now. Now, for example, on the right side, you can see there are some suggestions that are given by the user in our usability evaluation, such as that the user like in-app payment, the UI design maybe need to slightly update it, but overall, it's not exactly very serious. It's just several matters that we could improve on in the future. So thank you very much for watching. That is basically my presentation for my final year project Bersama. I hope you find it easy to understand, and thank you again for watching, and goodbye.